Hi everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to my board game guides. Today I'll be doing a review of a game that was released last year, a game called Food Chain Magnate. Now Food Chain Magnate is a business simulation and it takes the whole business part pretty seriously. In the game, you are the CEO of a fast food restaurant. This is the city where you'll be conducting business. And in the game, you'll be doing a lot of CEO-like things. You'll decide what kind of people you want to hire. You will decide what you want to produce. You will decide how to run marketing campaigns. You will decide who to hire to execute your strategy. So in the game, you'll be doing a lot of building up of your org chart and trying to come up with an organizational structure that will be able to efficiently produce what the people in the city want in terms of food and drinks, whether it's burgers, whether it's pizza, whether it's lemonade, beer, or soft drinks. They'll want a lot. Your job is to be able to supply them with what they want, and in the process, make a whole crap ton of money. So with all the different moving parts, there's advertising, there's production processes, there's determining who wants what. All of that can be pretty intimidating at first glance, but here's one of the best things about Food Chain Magnate. It's that the game process flow is pretty simple. In each round, you basically set up your org chart. So whether you the CEO wants to start producing tons of pizza or start getting people to grab drinks for you, that's all up to you. And all the steps in the game are laid out pretty well. The thing that makes the game difficult and heavy is figuring out what people are going to do, because there are so many strategies that you can look into. For example, you could start with the billboard marketing campaigns and get people to just want, say, beer, and then you just get your group of drink grabbers, gophers, to get yourself all the beer or whatever you're advertising that you need to make a quick buck. Or you could be doing long-term strategies. For example, getting all of your management core, say your management trainees, and then start training them, upgrading them until they become vice presidents, or even higher to senior vice presidents, so that you can build yourself a really big corporate hierarchy that can handle anything your opponents will throw at you. So the game definitely gives you a lot of options for you to explore and is interesting in that way. And of course, all the other choices like advertising can also be challenging. For example, you could be setting up billboard campaigns, and well, just because you decide to advertise a certain product doesn't mean that the people that you're advertising the products to will buy from you. So there's always the chance that people might use discounts to engage in price wars. And that can be really fascinating and nail-biting, as you're like, okay, well, I've managed to make this house right here want beer. But do they necessarily want my beer? What if Joe over there decides to decrease the cost of the prices of his beer, undercutting me severely and stealing my business? So there's a lot to go through, but from that example, you can see that this game is already pretty cutthroat. And people who don't really like cutthroat games will not be into Food Chain Magnate, because it's zero sum. If I get the business from house number 12, then Mary doesn't get it, Joe doesn't get it, all the money that I generate will belong to me. And if that causes other people to have to throw their food away, well, that's their problem. The game is very unsympathetic in that regard. But because of all this competition, it really makes you want to focus really deeply into the game to figure out what everybody else is doing and try to undermine everyone else's strategy. So that's really the beauty of it. It does the whole supply and demand thing really well. So what happens is that these customers are very finicky. They are also very price sensitive. They want you to be able to supply everything they demand, and if you don't do it, they just go elsewhere. So it offers you a lot of factors that you have to consider as you play the game. And that's probably what makes it so enthralling. Now, the big downside of this game is that it is pretty lengthy. Yeah, I'd say with maybe a 4-player game could take as long as about 3.5 hours. Now, of course, with repeated plays, Food Chain Magnate will definitely go much faster. But until then, until people actually start getting the hang of how the game plays, it's going to be pretty slow going as people start figuring out, all right, what sort of organizational structure do I want for this round? And they might be spending a lot of time trying to figure out what sort of people they want to be putting in their corporate hierarchy. But once you get down to it, the game is fantastic. I mean, sure, the first couple rounds are telegraphed. I mean, you're probably going to be taking the CEO, grabbing Recruiting Girl, and then trying to build out your organization, hiring as many people as possible. But once you go through the first initial rounds, it's going to be divergent because a lot of people will be pursuing different strategies. Are you going to try to be a master marketer and try to make lots of money by being the first person to market stuff? Or are you going to be the first person to start producing foodstuffs and therefore getting a strong food engine built up through this game? So there's a lot to consider, but this game is just fantastic because it captures the feel of running a business really well. It makes you think about what considerations a business owner would have. Are you going to market today? What people are you going to hire? Are you going to pay their salaries? Who's going to be working today? What sort of advantages can you squeeze out of your production processes or advertising processes or even hiring processes? Because that will determine basically what you're going to be good at and how you will be able to execute your strategy so that you can sell as much product as possible, and doing so, win the game. So I've only played this game about maybe 3 or 4 times, but I've been really excited by what I've seen, and I think this game is going to be one that will see a lot of repeated plays. Now, it is a little expensive in that it's over $100, and some people might not be too fond of the art quality. So, for example, on this city grid right here, it's kind of plain, but I do like how it's just completely functional. And I think the wooden pieces for the drinks and all the food items are a nice touch, as is the artwork on each of these cards, which has a very retro feel to it. So the game definitely puts you in the right mood for playing and figuring out how to execute a business strategy. And you can apply a lot of analyses to this game to figure out which is the best way to go. And because this game has so many paths you can explore, the replayability is great even with the high price. And so far, I think it's been well worth the money. So definitely a solid game, one that I highly highly recommend. If you have any questions or comments, just let me know below, and I hope I'll see you next time.